What's up, guys? As you can see by looking around, it is winter up on Signal Mountain. I don't think I've ever seen snow linger so long in Tennessee. It is the advantage of living about 17 to 1900 feet. I guess we were 1900 feet here above Chattanooga, is that we get a little bit colder weather, and so that lets us get snow accumulation. Well, what happens in the winter when it's cold? Well, really two things happen. The first thing that happens as it relates to sales is that you get fewer estimate requests. The second thing that happens as it relates to sales, this is going to be a short walking with Brandon because it's cold. We ain't going to be walking. We're going to go do some sitting with Brandon now. The thing that happens is that people are less likely to say yes, right? So we got two things going on. Number one is people, they don't request estimates as much as they usually would. And number two, they say no, or they'll say maybe, or maybe it'll be in the spring, or whatever they're going to say. Let me put you up here. Oh gosh, that's a lot better. So we know that these things happen. Leads decrease, conversions decrease. So what do you do about it, right? You can't turn summer, or winter rather, into summer, okay? That's the first thing I want you to just get that out of your mind. If you think you can market your way out of this problem by buying leads or spending money on net new marketing, that's not going to work. But there are some things you can do in your sales process, and specifically what I want to talk about today is a critical concept. So take out a pen and a piece of paper. This may be one of the more valuable videos you've ever watched from me. And what I want to talk to you today about is thinking like your clients, okay? Thinking like your clients. When you've been doing anything for any length of time as a professional, whether it's painting, coaching, consulting, legal services, auto mechanic, you name it, something happens, and it's this. You forget how to think like your client. There's an old saying that I like a lot. If you want to understand why John Smith buys what John Smith buys, you have to see the world through John Smith's eyes. So what are the eyes of your clients? Let's put yourself in their position for a change. Number one, you are trying to get them to buy something that is exceedingly expensive. $15,000, $20,000, $30,000, $5,000 is the cost of a middle-class divorce, cosmetic surgery, a new used car, maybe 6-7 months of their mortgage payment. Like, it's pricey. It's expensive. When people write you a check, they may be giving you more money than they will give anybody for the next 3 years in one lump sum payment. So it's a big deal to them. Here's the second thing to consider. Who are your best clients? Well, your best clients are usually 50 to 70 years old. They are affluent. They live in large homes in areas that are easy to walk, and their homes are constructed of things that need to be painted, both inside and out. Those are your best clients. They're not doing their own home service work. They're not roofing their own house, they're not plumbing their own house, and they're not painting their own house. So they have been, likely, buying professional services for 20, 30 years. What happens when you go to buy professional services? I know this. I've experienced this multiple times just in the last 6 months. Here's what happens. You'll call a service provider, and there will be terrible communication. They may show up, they may not show up, they may show up late. Of the ones that do arrive, all of them make these outlandish verbal promises that they're going to show up on time, they're going to do a great job, you're going to be happy with it, everything's going to go swimmingly well. But that only really happens about 30 or 40% of the time. The rest of the time, all the verbal promises made by a home service provider fall apart. They fall apart. So when you go into someone's home, think like them, right? Think like them. And the thought that should come to your mind is, if they have had this experience with contractors over and over again, and if everybody else is just making verbal promises and delivering a PDF, and if I'm making verbal promises and delivering a PDF, how are they going to pick me, especially if I'm 30, 40, 50%, and 100% higher? How will they know the difference between our companies? A second thing I want you to consider are the fears, worries, and concerns that these clients have. Homeowners, lady of the house typically makes the decision. She is concerned about a host of things. that she'll never mention to you. She's worried about her personal safety. Okay, she is. And if she's got young girls in a male-dominated business, she's worried about everything from sexual assault to people rummaging around in things, theft, drug use at the house. Do I have a convicted felon in my home? They're worried about safety. They're worried about you being in their inner sanctum if they're introverted and it's inconvenient for everybody. So they're making, you're asking them to make a big financial decision from a service provider category that has proven to be, I guess, populated by folks that don't tell the truth. And our industry has a bad reputation because it's deserved. That's the reason we have a bad one. So when you walk into the door, you have to understand that's where the mindset of your client is. So what do you need to do to change these things? Well, first off, you need to look at what clients actually care about. Take out a pen and a piece of paper, write it down. What are they worried about? What are they fearful about? How can I reduce the risk in my sales process by communicating clearly to clients in writing and through multiple mediums what's going on? Okay, how are we different? How are our painters' processes and product knowledge superior and different to the typical painting contractor? So number one is you need to write down what keeps people up at night. What experiences have they had in the past? What are people really concerned about, even if they're unspoken concerns? And how can you speak to that? So that's number one. You got to get your message right. Okay, for the market. You got to get the message right for the market. Are you with me so far? Here's the second thing you need to do. You need to employ multiple mediums to get this message to your clients. You can't just use email and a personal visit. You need to be using mail, email, phone, text, video, documents, both printed and otherwise, slideshow presentations, every tool that is at your disposal to communicate with people. You can't over-communicate in the sales process. You think, well, I told them something verbally. They don't remember that stuff. Well, I sent them to my website. They ain't going to go look at it. You have to spoon feed multiple times the same information to your clients before it even registers with them, okay? Here's the other thing you've got to do. You've got to communicate this message not only through multiple mediums, but you got to do it before, during, and after the sale. And if you're going to do it through specific mediums before, during, and after the sale, you need to create tools and templates so that you can do those over and over again. Here's the fourth thing you need to consider. All the information that you can possibly provide to your clients about who you are, what your painters are, how you are different and better than the typical painting contractor needs to be from, if at all possible, in abundance, third-party proof. That means not your word, someone else's word. It could be a documented background check certificate. It could be a warranty or a guarantee certificate. It could be licensing. It could be insurance. It could be all the reviews you've ever gotten, every positive email, every positive text message, some kind of compilation of customer satisfaction surveys, before and after pictures, smiling clients standing next to your painters, anything that they could look at and review in abundance, what we call the preponderance of proof, where they're like, man, I saw 3 people. One dude showed up and emailed me a PDF, another dude showed up and emailed me a PDF, but then when I called that third company, my experience was completely freaking different. They answered the phone different. The phone call was different. The information they sent me in advance of their arrival was different, and they sent me more than one thing. When they showed up, they started asking really smart questions that actually get at my concerns. They gave me a gift. They walked me through an overview. They told me specifically what makes their company different, the 7 or 12 major points. They left me with hundreds of pages of proof to review while they produced a printed estimate. They asked for the business. They gave me a consumer buyer's guide that told me exactly how to buy professional painting services, and then gave me all the documentation that proved that they were the ones. And then they followed up, respectfully but consistently. Those other 2 guys didn't do that. Now, they are 40-50% more, but you know what? I think, given the evidence that I've seen here and given the difference in the experiences, I'll bet that this company will not screw me over. They will not make a mess. They will stand beside their work. I've seen tons of proof from them. I've seen no proof from anyone else. If this is where you are, if this is your situation right now in the winter, you're struggling to close sales, maybe even you saw your third quarter numbers go down, both in leads and close rates, you've got to do something different with your sales process. One last illustration. Marketing is where everything starts, and the better the leads, the better the jobs, and the more profitable the jobs. And that's why you want to have so much repeat and referral work in your company, which means you need to spend the lion's share of your marketing budget talking to people that have bought from you previously and folks that have received estimates, not stone cold strangers. Then those leads go into the process of sales. Okay, goes into the process of sales. If the sales process is strong, if it's good, that means every transaction that comes on the other side of sales will be larger, the close rates will be higher, the marketing costs will be lower, and the profitability will be higher. And if you're good with your other marketing stuff and your resources with customer reactivation and retention, well, now you've added them to the client list. Now they can begin not only buying from you again, but they can start referring you to their friends and relatives. And then once things get out of the sales process, then they move into operations. Then operations takes that signed contract and through fulfillment turns it into cash. And then those people go back into your list, and then the whole process starts again. If what I have explained to you makes perfect sense, and you're like, man, I really need to do that, I'm going to tell you a secret. I'm teaching a sales pre-day that you can still register for. I'm not publicizing this. If you want to come virtually, I will give you the exact tools that we use to help our members outcompete other independent contractors and even franchises. It is our PowerPaint presentation process, and there's a link below here where I explain everything. You can go there, you can sign up for the course. Guys, there's nothing you can do that costs less money than improving your sales process that will give you more benefit, that will allow you to see fewer people while earning a higher income. So in 2024, don't drag your old crappy email a PDF sales process around with you. It's like a millstone around your neck. Improve it, upgrade it. Come to the pre-day for the PowerPaint presentation process. I promise you, you will make back your money hundreds of times over if you'll invest in yourself and invest in your sales processes. Look for the link below. Can't wait to help you. Take care.